fan of the Hodaki Big Show podcast? Make sure you check out more from Jay, Smike and Keezy on their Instagram at Hodaki Big Show, or tune in to them 4 to 7 every weekday on Radio Hodaki. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Do-do-do-do-do.
You sound a bit fluey today, Minogue. Is that because you had your jab?
No.
Oh.
How do I sound?
Oh, you sound normal, Keezy.
Good to be
No, it
in.
hasn't done anything. I've just... Yeah, I do sound a bit
Yeah,
crazy-ish,
you are,
don't I?
you're a bit snotty.
But I've got completely clear sinuses.
Right.
Right.
Don't know.
You know how much shit I got from people questioning whether my snoz fitted into the helmet
Oh, yesterday.
yesterday?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
At the cricket.
Yeah.
So good.
And actually, there are a couple of videos there out on the pitch where my snoz look massive.
A couple of videos on the pitch.
Yeah, when people got out like Rito, they ran up to me and said, oh, you know, blah, 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 what's happening with there, Jason?
Oh, are they up online?
Yeah, I think the ACC maybe.
Right.
And it was just like...
Oh, are they on Facey?
I don't know. No, Insta. But anyway, I just couldn't stop looking at my massive snoz.
Well, it's funny, isn't it?
It was
sort of,
massive.
I've never cared about it before, but we're going to give each other complexes.
Yeah, I'm not worried. I mean, you know...
Sure, because you brought it up now.
I mean, I'm...
You
Watching
should be.
videos about
You should
yourself.
be. It's fucking huge.
It is huge. But I'm a bit of a beast these days, you know what I mean? It's okay.
I actually
I'm comfortable in the skin.
I saw a
and my
comment.
massive snoz.
A lot of skin on it. I saw a comment the other day. People saying they were sick of nose gags. Actually, it was one person. And then
Yes.
another person responded to that bullshit.
And then how many likes did each of those get?
The top one got none. The bottom one got like 4 likes.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Yeah.
So I
I
was
think,
just double checking.
I think we're good for a while.
Yeah, well, actually, I've noticed that dying off anyway. It's going to die a natural death.
It will.
Is
Yeah,
it?
but it also will come back. It'll also come back.
It'll emerge again
Some days,
like a
what?
whale fin out of the water there.
That's why you
Oh.
can't go swimming, eh? Because people think it's a shark when you're doing backstroke.
A shark with a massive mongrel.
Yeah.
I know what it'll be. Why I sound a bit nasally. Because I rode in on my hogs today.
Right, okay.
Just getting the old
I genuinely thought...
fresh air in my face there.
Because I
and
thought it
there.
was you having your flu shot the other day.
Nah.
I wondered if the body does go, ew, a little
I've
bit when
had
you get
absolutely
jabs.
no reaction to it whatsoever except for the traditional dead arm.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any you guys all good with needles?
Yep.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I
Same.
prefer not to have anything to do with them ever.
Right.
Oh, really?
And I do
Yeah,
actually.
but you don't get all sort of fainty on it.
I almost did when I was going to Sri Lanka. We had to get a couple. Can't remember what they were, rabies and something else. And I got the
Yeah, but
first
you've
one,
already had that, haven't you?
the shot.
No, you're thinking
rabies.
of...
You said you had rabies as a young fella.
Yeah, but
Which doesn't that make you immune?
nah, they gave me another one just in case.
Right, okay.
But they gave me a shot, and then they were like, "Hang on, we're just going to prepare the second shot." And after the first one, I was like, "Oh, they actually hurt a wee bit." And I was sitting on the wee, what's it called, a gurney?
You burst into tears, didn't you?
No, I didn't. But and the lady was like getting it ready and was just like pulling out the needle and waving it around a wee bit, and and I actually started to get a bit lightheaded for the first time in my life.
Right.
Right, interesting.
Almost
Interesting.
fainted. Didn't though.
Weak.
Yeah, I
Didn't know.
I had a mate that was shockingly bad. Would
Right.
literally just flake out, douche onto the ground before it even happened.
What did his name start with? What letter?
What letter did his name start with?
Yeah.
S.
Oh, yeah. No, see, I don't know.
Yeah. But would just go pale. I remember
Yeah.
standing. I can't remember what the shot was at school. It must have been some generic
Booster thingy for something.
Measles or something?
I don't know. But
Or
I remember
mumps?
standing in line while he was getting it, and he just went douche
Right.
onto the ground.
Yeah.
'Cause he
My wife
freaked
can
out.
think herself into anything,
Yeah.
fainting-wise. Have we talked about that before?
No, I don't
No,
think
we
we
haven't.
have.
She had a mate that went in for brain surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And so she went in to visit her in the hospital, and she'd come out of her sedation and was sort of chattering away, and she was sort of describing what the operation was. And sort of they go up through the nasal cavity,
Oh, yeah.
and I think they're scraping something off the skull. At the mention of that, my wife was out.
Douche.
So this woman who had brain surgery had to call the nurse to come in and deal with my wife who'd fainted as a result of hearing about brain surgery.
Right, yeah.
And then a sight of blood, she's gone.
Yeah.
And then we had another one that was an absolute. We had one where we were at a film premiere, and this guy in it, the film is called Stray, and he cut his hand in the film.
movie?
Yeah, in the
Right.
film, and he went to the shop to get some bandages, but while he was there at the supermarket, he saw a car which triggered a memory for him. You knew something was going on, so he bought heaps of booze and was going back to his place to get on the hammer. My wife got it into her head that he was going to get the booze and pour it on his
wound.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is not what happened at all.
So she imagined that. And
She
then,
imagined that would happen, and then I heard this noise. I turned around, she was out.
was she sitting down at the time, obviously?
at the movie theater?
Yeah, oh my
Yeah,
God.
she
Yeah,
wasn't an usher. Yeah.
No, I was just making sure. Like, you didn't turn around and she'd fallen on the ground or anything.
No, she was in the chair.
So she just- oh, okay.
Wow, that's
And out
quite
she went.
extreme.
It's unreal.
It's
and
quite
then
extreme.
if she's in a conversation where people are talking about stuff,
Yeah.
it's unreal.
Yeah.
Right.
But if she will pass out and she's too polite to say, look, can you stop talking about that because I'm going to pass out, she'll just pass out.
Yeah.
So it's pretty funny.
And is it
because if you can think yourself into that, what positive thoughts could you do that would be really beneficial? Because that's an incredible.
Oh, it's powerful.
It's powerful.
Yeah,
That you
yeah.
can do that. That you can
Yeah.
knock yourself out.
The Hodaki Big Show with Jason Hoyt, Mike Minogue, and Keezy. The Hodaki Big Show, weekdays at 4 on Radio Hodaki.
One of my greatest fears was passing out. It was fainting.
Right.
I had a real thing about.
So you were scared of fainting.
Yeah, but like when I'm balls deep.
Well,
in
where he went to school, you would be.
when I was deep in a panic attack.
Yeah.
My fear was that I was going to faint and black out.
But then that would increase the
Right.
likelihood of you.
Doing so.
Yeah.
But I never did.
My fear was that a fly would fly into my mouth
Right.
when I was a kid.
Whilst having a
That
panic
a fly,
attack or just in general?
just that a fly would go in my mouth when I was like 8.
Right.
And then I was running up the back steps at my house on Carlisle Street, Levin, and a fly flew into my mouth. And it immediately drowned in my spit, and I remember that, spat it out, and then I was like, that actually wasn't that
Yeah,
bad.
it's all good.
Yeah.
So I
Spider,
wasn't
though.
scared of it anymore.
Yeah.
How many times have you had a fly, a whole house fly fly into your mouth?
3 times.
Feels
Yeah. Oh, it's happened. It's definitely
3
happened.
times.
Yeah, I mean, it's not common, but it's
I'll tell you another weird thing that, since I've been having a bit of basil for medicinal purposes.
Yeah.
The
Is
weird.
that only happening on the weekend, by the way?
Yeah, it is.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah, no, genuinely it is. One of the things that I start focusing on is swallowing.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And so...
Breathing was one.
Or
Yeah,
even
no,
blinking
that-
as well.
Breathing,
I haven't had the blinking one.
Breathing was when I
Breathing's
was
a
on another
shocker.
substance. That's what freaked me out. How do we breathe?
Yeah.
But no, with the basil, I've been finding myself going, getting
Yeah.
really focused on my swallowing.
Yeah.
And also what I find, I don't know if you guys, because I'm not a big belcher, and I've found with the basil feel like I need to belch, but I can't. I'm sort of going,
Right.
Wow, it sounds like a real
'Cause
laid back,
It's
enjoyable
probably because
experience.
you get quite hungry when you've been
maybe.
on the basil.
well, eventually
You get
I
the
do.
munchies, and then you're on smashing bags of cheese balls.
And
It might be
that's,
related to
the
that.
other thing too is I always had a big massive fear of choking. And so when I'm on the seed and I'm chewing away there, I'm like, God, that's quite chunky. Is that going to go down my throat?
So you're just freaking about all this stuff while everyone else is just chilling out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. That's always the thing that when you become aware of something you do without thinking, and then
Yeah.
you start dwelling and you start really focusing, and you can't
That's not good.
stop, that's the worst.
It's not good.
I've created a thing now of actively not worrying. I actively worry a lot, and now I actively don't worry.
And what's
And
that?
that-
Just having the conscious thoughts that you're
Yeah.
not going to worry about something.
Yes, it's the same effort I put into actively worrying about stuff. I now try and turn into actively not worrying about it.
Right. Okay.
How's that going?
It's good, actually.
Is it?
It's actually really good. It's not something I got from therapy or anything. It's just something that I just went, actually, I expend so much energy worrying about shit. What if I put some energy into not worrying about
Well,
it?
if
It's
you
funny the things that you worry about because, Like how much bad stuff has really happened.
This is the thing that you do
Next to nothing.
to deal
really.
with someone who has anxiety, that stuff where they're convinced the worst possible scenario is going to happen.
Yes.
You write down every time they've ever done it and the result of every time they were panicked about it, and not one single thing will ever have a bad result, usually.
Yeah.
And you look at that and you go, actually, yeah, nothing
Totally,
bad
but
ever
that,
happened.
the
I don't think
mind's a-
logic comes into
The
it, though.
mind's a tricky thing, though,
Yeah.
Keezy.
No, you
and
just
that-
think it and it'll happen. That's what I've found.
Yeah, but you're on a kind of...
Dream playing.
You're on a kind of... I was going to say...
La La
steamed
Land.
kind of easy as, man. Just have another beersy.
Exactly. I'd recommend it. Actually, just, it's ironic, fellas, mentioning rabies earlier. Do you know I was terrified for 6 months that a bat would fly in my window when I was a kid and bite me and give me rabies and I'd die?
Oh,
Because
real?
I watched a documentary about it happening.
That happens a lot to kids. One of my girls went through massive anxiety when she watched this. It was like an apocalyptic, I can't remember the name of the film, apocalyptic kind of weather.
Oh, the day after tomorrow.
It's something like that,
Yeah.
yeah. And she watched that and for months afterwards was like convinced the world was going to end.
Right, that's handy.
Really helpful at the time.
Wow.
How old was she?
She wouldn't have been 11 or 12,
Yeah, she
maybe.
shouldn't have been watching that.
Well, she didn't watch it at our house, I tell you
Oh,
that.
is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, the first time I ever watched Anaconda, remember Anaconda?
I do.
Yeah, I think I was like 7,
Jennifer,
and I don't know, was it
Ice
Jennifer?
Cube.
But that was on, and there's
What's
a
her
scene.
name? J-Lo.
Jennifer Love Hewitt, or is it
No,
Jennifer
J-Lo.
Lopez? Oh, yeah.
Is that the one where they're on a boat in the swamp?
There's a swamp.
In the
yeah.
Amazon, isn't it?
It's pretty funny from memory.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Totally
hilarious.
now looking back, but when I watched it when I was like 7, it was at my mate's house. His dad was just watching it, even though he had us 2 6, 7-year-olds around, and we were just sitting on the couch watching anacondas with him. And a guy jumps off a waterfall, and an anaconda grabs him by the head and is just hanging him from this waterfall,
Oh, yeah.
using its jaws on his head. And I was 6, just sitting there like, okay, this isn't freaking me out at all. And then I dreamt about anacondas every night.
Oh, so good.
It didn't help that I've got a massive anaconda in the old
Nose.
pants there. Oh. Damn it. Don't pause.
Your Hodaki Big Show Keezy word of the day is...
Swallowing. Because of Jace.
Yeah, we know why, Keezy.
Yeah, he said ooh.
Well, I know why he said that as well, because he was looking at you when he said that.
Hey, don't forget to send all the Keezy words into the Hodaki Big Show on Instagram, and we could be calling you with a prize pack. Also send your cell phone number in and follow us. Hodaki Big Show, Chris Keens there, Mr. Mike Minogue, Hoity J, and Call Me Pugs.
Thanks, mate.
Good idea, mate.